Hello, my name is Harton Buatko. We're back. We're talking about surveys, and we're talking about market bridges. With us, we have Herbert Santiago. Herbert, let's continue on to the surveys now because we have a good 25 minutes left. I'd like you to, if possible, let's look into the current surveys that are being done. For some reason or other, it's been weaponized. Kasi alam ko, market survey, when it comes to marketing business, we make the surveys, we have them done, focus groups, etc., but we keep this information close to us. Hindi natin ibubulgar at pakikita sa iba. Ngayon, ginagawa nila, mga politician, gagawa ng survey, sasali lang sila sa in fact, the survey groups, hindi na sila nagsasurvey. Nagsusubscribe na lang sila eh.
Okay.
Kasi mas mura eh, di ba?
Okay.
Now you can explain. There you go.
Okay.
I got you going. There
Of
you go.
course.
Sige.
All right. Mentioning SWS, Pulse Asia,
Yes.
because they're the leading pollsters. Okay?
Well, perceived because they're always on media.
Correct. So leading in that particular sense. Okay. Many market researchers like myself have always been curious as to how they do it, okay, and the outcome thereof. In the so many election years that I've been in this business, rumors came out that if a politician will contract them, the politician will have good numbers, okay, and his rivals will have bad numbers, okay. But it may not be true
to a
all the
certain
time.
point.
True to a certain point.
Yes.
But we market researchers who do these things have questioned the methodology and the questionnaire itself. So, one agency says, 1,200 respondents were polled. Okay, so we decided to inquire or be curious as to where was the spread of 1,200. Okay.
How thin? Kasi 100 million Filipinos.
Yeah, so we were horrified.
1%.
We were horrified to see the deployment or the allocation. So, for example, Manila,
5 tao, that's it.
thereabouts, or 10 at best, di ba? Then the rest are a paltry 3 or 4 or 5 at
Correct.
best.
Yes. I heard that. Yeah.
Okay, so, because we don't do that eh. Kasi for a citywide, okay, we require 500. Okay, but
City lang. Yung
city
pa lang.
lang, province-wide, we recommend 1,000. Nationwide, our minimum is 2,100, so that you have a geographical panel that's credible.
Yeah, the credibility.
Oh, because you cannot rely on percentage.
Percentage. Nga.
Because 1 out of 10 is what? 10%.
I think in America, the #1 polling starts pag marketing research, 25,000 eh.
Yes.
Di ba?
But
If I'm not mistaken, eh?
But the reason why those agencies will do 1,000...
Hindi, malaki naman 300 million ang population.
Correct, but the point is the cost. Okay?
Magkano
Now,
ba yun? 350 per person?
that's
400?
them, not me. Mine is
okay.
more expensive because of logistics.
Okay.
Okay? Plus, of course, we have to deal with the guys down there
Yeah.
who will halt my people in the field and
Of
say,
course.
hey, what are you doing here?
No, and saka i-control nila kung pwede. Ang tawag dyan, barangay.
So, plus, of course, the harassment of the rival camp once they
course.
heard that we're doing this. That's why we do not tell our respondents that we are doing a political survey. Okay? We weave in the questions. They are not the first questions.
Okay.
Simply because if we've learned that if you were direct to the point at the first question alone, there's bias. And they will not answer properly. They're afraid to answer.
Okay. That's possibly, yeah, it's possible,
Okay?
yeah.
Why? Because they're afraid.
Napopoliticize, eh, no?
At saka, for example, if let's say the politician concerned helped their community,
All the more.
so maganda yung salita. Pero kapag hindi sila natulungan, ang pangit na salita.
Of course.
Okay, all of that is so associated. Okay. But in our case, we recommend 3 studies. Landscape, which is held ideally around October. Okay? Because landscape, what does the horizon look like? And if I'm a electionist, do I know my known challengers? Di ba? Kasi meron mga
Or your
rumors.
constituents.
To know what your constituents are saying about you. Through the years, we have come up with what we will call the master list of gripes. Okay. The promises they want to hear,
Yes.
the personalities that they want to see.
Yes.
Bakit? It comes out every time. So sabi namin, sige, i-template na natin yan. Believe it or not, yun at yun pa rin nga. And the best part of it all, kung meron, kasi nahirapan kami kapag open-ended. Because if you have 1,000 respondents and you're asking for 3, let's say, personality attributes, dapat yan, 3,000. Hindi, lalabas yan, 8,000. So you can imagine the encoding horror. Not only that, the way it's said and how we have to synthesize it in 1 word or 2 words, for example, that's a nightmare also. And the other point is, baka siya lang ang nagsasabi.
Mali ang mababasa mo.
Yeah, everything goes wrong because that particular answer may be 0.000 something. It's not significant.
At all, yes.
So, as you know the relevant issues at hand, yun ang iti-template mo. So, you have about 15 to 20. Okay? Because out of that, makikita mo saan pumapanig ang tao sa isip eh.
Of course.
So, for example, what are
the biases.
So, for example, we ask the question, did your life change today from 2016? Yes or no? Then we ask, was
How?
it better, worse, or the same?
Okay. Nagli-lead up ka nga.
Then,
nagli-lead up ka nga.
tinatanong
Sige.
namin, among the 3, kung sinabi mo mas malala, bakit? Ganon din yung pareho lang, and okay.
It sounds like a market research.
Exactly. Because that's how a marketing man like myself will think.
Yes, that's how you would approach it.
Because if you went direct to the point, the respondents are worried and afraid to answer.
Politics
But
na
if you went through lifestyle first, then they warm up.
Tama.
Okay.
Sounds good. Matrabaho lang.
Matrabaho lang, but we limit our questions so that we don't get what is called the respondent decay. Yung tipo bang, yan na lang.
Okay na yan,
Diba?
okay na yan.
Yung mga ganon. Para sa ganon, misread na yun eh. See? Now, then, segue, because we now know why their life was better, worse, or the same, we segue to the next question, okay? If you were to vote tomorrow, what are you looking for in the candidate's personality? 3 personality attributes. So alam din namin, di ba? The youth have a different criteria from the adults in the middle age and the senior age.
So mali yung sinasabi nila sa dyaryo ngayon. And many of the politicians, it's the youth. The youth is the promise. They're the ones. It's bullshit. It's not true because I remember when I was when I was in the youth age, I couldn't care less about the politics and the elections.
Correct.
True enough, di ba? See, I always said that, my gosh.
To this very day, the youth are the least
concerned
and aware. So, however, the youth is now the biggest voting bloc than the adults. Because of the new voters registry this past couple of years. You have people who are no longer voting on the upper level. Bakit? They moved somewhere, they passed
Or
away.
have become cynical.
Exactly. Okay, like me, I'm not voting anymore. Kasi I don't want to, ayoko sumamalob do sa kinang ko, no? But, kumbaga, I have what they call the dream
You've
vote
turned
na lang.
cynical,
Yeah.
so to speak. So, kasi ngayon, how about the concept of these politicians who use it over and over again, like what they're doing today? You're reading every other day, another survey comes out. It has been weaponized by way of creating what they call trending. Because
True.
voters want to vote winners.
Correct. Which is why, however, you have to take a look at the timing of such surveys. If you're talking about the leading pollsters that are, let's call
correct.
it commercial pollsters,
Correct.
okay, versus people like me that are private pollsters.
Yes.
Why? There are some candidates that will take my service. Why? Because they cannot believe that.
Oh, yun ang nangyayari.
Yeah, yun ang nangyayari. So I serve as the challenger. Believe it or not, Harry, I'm able to challenge. I'm able to discredit the numbers.
But the client needs to understand that it does not come cheap.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Diba? Because a politician warrior who wants to win will spend money, but then he'll prioritize where he will spend. And surveys are not cheap.
Correct. But at the same time, I tell these clients of mine, this is sunk cost. If you don't know where to go, how to reach,
How will you get there?
how will you get there? And moreover, the point being is that you're throwing money to the wind as to money where it counts most.
It's true. Like posters. Gawa ng gawa lang yan. They don't know where to put it.
You know, I'll even tell you a funny story. There's a fellow I met last year, okay, because of the barangay election, okay. And we had a very, very, let's call it colorful talk. This guy believes that social media by itself will maketh the winner.
Many believe that today.
Okay, anyway, so he was the epitome of what he claims. Okay, guess what? He lost.
Yeah.
He claims he had 100 followers within his area. Okay, sige, I was curious. Guess what? He lost. Okay, well, how many votes did he get? Oh, paltry 500.
Biro.
So, he didn't want to take my calls afterwards because I said, look, good old-fashioned face-to-face
is most important.
is still the most reliable.
Yes, yes. Pag nakita ka, makikilala ka.
Then, of all things, a dear friend of mine last week says, hey, there's this company that does it digitally using cell phones. Say what?
Wala, hindi pwede yun eh.
Oh, but they claim sila, di ba? Sabi ko,
Alam mo, hindi tayo Amerika eh.
hindi
The way
yun.
they do
No,
it
this
eh.
is what I was telling him. How do you know that that fellow is the fellow as registered?
Ayun, isa pa yun.
Number one. Number two, the questions, how many questions can you actually ask? Because there is the respondent decay.
Correct. Tama
Okay.
na, tama na. Oo.
Yung mga, and they will just hang up. The moment hang up, the worst part is the frustration of calling. They sumagot, then you give your opening spiel, and they'll click you down.
Click
Mas
you out.
madaming problema yun. Hindi katulad ng house to house. Okay, you know that they're there, kumatok ka, and normally people in the provinces are very pleasant.
Let me jump the gun.
Okay.
How do you strategize against Smartmatic? Well, perceptions. Okay, let's assuming you and I have the same perception that they manipulate the elections.
All
that
right.
they have manipulated it. Because this is a reality.
Okay.
We have to use, earlier you said digitized is, well, electronic voting, well, to a certain extent, it speeds it up. And there's communication, faster communication. But in the case of Smartmatic, based on perceptions, pag hindi mo nilagyan ng Smartmatic or something like that, itataob ka niyan. I know I was a product of that. Natalo ako dyan because of the 60-30-10. Now, to you, as a survey professional, marketing expert, how do you strategize against a monster who's demonized the system and
Okay.
has succeeded?
I'm glad you asked that question. Because when the automated election system
2010, di ba?
came into
10.
play, I had a client in Makati, okay? And we did the 3 surveys to the point that in the last survey itself, which was about 30 days before election day itself, the undecided, I told my
Malaki,
client, malaki. And youth ang undecided sa lahat.
Oh, youth, yeah.
My client was very strong up there. Then,
Mahina siya dito, undecided.
so I told the client, you gotta move fast to get the youth. Okay? Because they're your swing vote. It's a 20% undecided in the
Malaki
youth.
yun, ha?
Yes, sir.
20% malaki yun.
Guess what?
You won.
No. Guess what? It even gave me the heebie-jeebies because she lost
Oh, okay.
in favor of her rival
All right.
by 20%.
Yung undecided ang tumalo sa kanya. Oh my gosh.
So you talk about Smartmatic and all this mumbo-jumbo. You see, I say mumbo-jumbo simply
No, because we can't do anything. This is a demon that's already in place.
true, but
if they manipulate everything, no matter how good your strategies are and your study, how do you fight a monster like Smartmatic?
You know, personally, I find that question very challenging, okay? Simply because, number one, I used to know some people from Smartmatic, but they're no longer there. And in the first year that they came into being, I had many questions that some of the computer whizzes of this country likewise
I
had.
know. I've
Okay?
interviewed many of them.
Okay.
The Philippine Computer Society.
Correct. Okay, and especially Lagban,
Yeah.
of all people, he was the biggest antagonist.
I know.
Okay, because he wanted to know the source code and all that.
Yes,
thing.
yes. Well,
And
he was correct.
yeah, in a way, but at the same time begs the question. Okay, how can a manipulation take place? Because I also know templates and all that, source codes and all that.
Electronic, eh?
Correct. So I asked the question, how can you manipulate? Okay. Whereas the moment your ballot goes into the machine,
Yeah.
it immediately recognizes, logs it in or archives it. In a couple of minutes, because they're supposed to be transmitting
Correct.
every so many minutes, right?
Yes.
So therefore, the update is every couple of minutes, right? And if something happens to that machine, wala nang problema kasi bumato na
Tumapon
yung
na,
oh, tumapon na. So, if you go up the line, saan kaya yung manipulation yan? Because you cannot have an encoder manipulate simply because source code yan.
Oh, source code.
So, I asked that question that you're asking me now, and sabi ko, you might as well take a look at basic marketing. Okay, like anything else.
Back to basics. Sige nga, I'd like to hear this.
Oh, kasi marketing literally is able to make the brand be accepted by consumers today. Remember, at the turn of the century, the old marketing philosophy of the 5 Ps was changed to 5 Cs. Okay? So, product was the customer. Okay? Promo, okay, was communication. Price was cost. Okay? Place was convenience.
Okay.
People was competence.
Okay.
Okay? So therefore, using the basic, the current Cs into this story, the machine is garbage in, garbage out. The best part about it is, I've seen the Comelec numbers. I've seen the invalids. And I decided to inquire about invalids. Okay? So, for example, there are people, especially the older folks, that because they don't like the name, they leave it blank already. Wala silang kukunin na, let's say, counselor. Eh, mag-invalidate yun.
Dapat.
And not only that, dapat 8 counselors. Lalagay lang sila ng isa. invalid din ulit yun.
Ayun. Doon nila kinukuha.
Yes.
I
Okay. So, even the
So yung
senators.
source code niyan, actually, naka-built-in na yan na that's what it's going to do.
Mag-invalidate siya because hindi mo na black out yung yung butas.
Do the people here, I always question that, are we competent enough to have to identify the source code that does that in kalokohan na yan? I mean, it's very technical and our people, are they really that competent that we can identify ng kalokohan ng Smartmatic?
Hold on. I'm not going to defend Smartmatic here, but I'd like to just express my
Please.
view. You see, when the ballot comes out and tumitimbre invalid yan, that's it, di ba? So you're supposed to have the proof that these are your invalid votes. In one particular province, one district, they were able to get the information that they had 17,000 invalid votes out of 130 yata.
Malaki yun. That's about
correct.
18, 15, 16%.
And so I
Malaki yun.
inquired with the campaign team, ano naging rason dyan? They investigated, okay, bakit invalid? Exactly. Dahil people were so...
Not filling up.
Not filling up everything. So naging invalid siya. See? Sayang. But then I realized, bakit ganun? Because we go back to basic marketing, awareness.
Wala. Okay.
Okay? So-and-so candidate may be noisy, and therefore the recall is there. So-and-so candidate may not be noisy, therefore,
Nobody knows.
and therefore, when people are black marking, they don't remember anything of those who are not noisy. So, as they say, when money talks, bullshit walks.
Correct.
It remains today the same. So therefore, there are some politicians or candidates who believe in themselves, totally believe in themselves. Okay? And when I did the survey of their rivals,
Nagulat.
nagulat siya, bagsak siya compared to his rivals. And these are not mayoralty position. This is higher than that.
Okay.
The guy was practically stunned. Ha? Kilala kayo sa siyudad ninyo, pero di ko kilala sa Badla. Eh, dami kong natutulungan.
It doesn't matter.
Exactly. The worst part was the point that as he finished the COC filing, I told the campaign, "Psst, mag-meeting na tayo, let's do the survey para maaga pa lang, we know what campaign to do, blah, blah, blah." Boy, 2 weeks was passing, nothing was happening. So I call up, kulit ko eh. Sabi niya, pare, mukhang hindi matutuloy. Bakit? Kasi dahil dumarating sa opisina niya, pledging support. Sabi mo kay boss, kako, mga kibitzers yan, lahat yan humihingi.
Baliktad.
And not only that, nagsasagwan yan sa dalawang ilog, sabi ko
Correct.
yan. Okay? So,
Correct.
okay, so, ikaw naman, sabi ko yan, if you've been a advisor for at least 2 elections, you should know that people take advantage of candidates.
Of course.
Okay? And hindi basihan yung daming dumarating at nagpe-pledge. Kasi yung pledge hindi ganyan. Ang pledge ganito. Di ba? Okay.
Tama yan.
So, we did the survey after my pagkakulit. I had to pull some strings upstairs, okay? Even I was stunned that the guy...
Hindi kilala.
so...
Change
what?
strategy yan. Kailangan.
So it's David versus Goliath. Because the other guy had all the points. Landslide pa nga kung tutuusin mo eh. Anyway. So, many are David to Goliath versus Goliath. Okay? Always yan. I even had a fellow some years ago, very self-centered, arrogant, and believes himself too much. Okay? Then through his friend who's an advertising agency man, sabi niya, Herbie, tingnan mo nga ito. Okay. Doon pa lang, I did my basic test. Sabi ko, sir, in 5 minutes, I will tape you through my cell phone. And extemporaneous ho tayo, ha? Sabi ko, can you tell me in 5 minutes why I should vote you? So, as is where is, di ba? Okay. So, the guy does his extemporaneous, 5 minutes. Then sabi nung kaibigan ko, ano, sa tingin mo, let an FGD establish that. So this is what I did. And my friend agreed. Let's get an actor that looks almost like him. And the same lines be said like him, the same intonations, etc. Let's find out who the FGD respondents will vote.
Ganda.
Guess who? The actor.
The actor, ang nanalo.
Oh, paano? Body language, blah, 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 plus whatever, di ba? The guy was stunned. But guess what? He said, I don't care. I'll still go. Oh, he lost.
Natala. We have reached the end of the program. Herbie, we have many politicians and candidates that are watching and are learning. It's a quick lesson, and they'll probably have to call on you directly.
Sure.
The numbers are listed as we went along the program. What would be your final message as we end the program?
Well, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the election today needs marketing. It needs marketing smarts. You just don't go out there and think that your name is by itself the winnability factor. No. Today, people are more intelligent voters, especially the youth. No longer, and maybe on the other hand, the guns and gold can still prevail. But I'm saying that for the majority part, people are not going to sell their votes. One thing I know is that if you use marketing, your winnability factor gets higher. If you only believe in yourself and do not believe in marketing, well, I'll pray for your soul. Okay? But more importantly, as a marketing fellow with so many years of experience, with many brand launches, successful at that, I use the same philosophy in electioneering. So, sirs, don't look at research as a cost. Look at it as a way of knowing if you are going to make it or not.
Terrific. Ladies and gentlemen, ang tawag dyan, professionalism. Professionalize your strategy and don't think you're the biggest star on TV. Even the biggest stars on TV become nothing. I mean, look at Chris Aquino. Ngayon, sunusuka na. I mean, so to speak. Professionalize and spend your money wisely. But hang on, I'm still not in agreement with the candidates that we generate a perception that says they're all corrupt because to a certain extent, it seems. Isipin mo, 3.7 trillion pesos, we can't seem to get rid of poverty. 3.7 trillion pesos, we can't seem to get rid of the MRT disruption, and so on and so forth. So it's got to be media. Media has got to be maybe the disconnect and the problem. Very much like this TV show, I can actually throw bullshit at you and you wouldn't know the difference and you'd probably believe me. Maybe that's the problem because there's so much media, information, communication as is in marketing. Bullshit in, bullshit out. My last recommendation is don't be the BS. Don't become the bullshit. Vote properly and don't go by whoever is popular. And just because sinabi ng kaibigan mo and whatnot. Learn to vote and do that properly, so to speak. Thank you very much.